Billy Eichner, you're star of a couple things that are up at the Emmys this year, but most notably Billy on the Street from
Yeah,
True TV, up for Outstanding Variety Sketch Series.
yeah.
How did you find out that you were nominated, and what was your reaction when you found out you got in this year?
I found out, I tried to ignore the announcements because I thought that maybe we had a shot, but it certainly wasn't a guarantee. And I kind of went through it last year when I thought we had a shot. And I think last year I got up and I set my alarm and was disappointed. And this year I happened to be shooting the next season of American Horror Story right now in LA. And there are some very late nights, and we had a pretty late night of shooting the night before the Emmy announcement. So I said to myself, I'm just going to let myself sleep. I'm exhausted. And if there's a reason for someone to get in touch with me, if we're nominated, I'm sure they will, and I'll hear my phone. And that's what I planned on doing. And then almost like subconsciously, like 20 minutes before the announcement, I like woke up and kind of had my publicist Brianna, who said like my eyes me right now. She texted me in all caps, "We got it," and that's how I found out. And then it was like an avalanche of texts and tweets, and all the ways people can communicate with you, and it was pretty cool. And it was very exciting. A lot of adrenaline, and we were really excited and really proud. Billy on the Street's my baby. I've been doing Billy on the Street style videos for over 10 years, dating back to my live shows in New York. And, it's taken a lot out of me, physically, creatively, vocally. But the team that works on the show, a lot of us have been on it from the beginning of the TV show, which was about 6 years ago now. And we are like this little family. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but on this show in particular, I'm literally physically attached to the camera guy and, with my microphone cord. And so I've been attached to our ACAM guy, Doug, for years. And we're just running around together in the snow and in the heat and in everything. And we all just feel really proud of it. We all worked really hard, and we were excited. It's nice to be included.
So you actually touched on my next question there. So you talked about how this skit of Billy on the Street dates back to your live show. I believe it was called Creation Nation.
Correct.
Yeah. What was the process like of transferring that from a live show that you were doing to an online bit, then to a full-length series?
It was a long process. When I started doing Creation Nation, my live sketch talk variety show that I wrote for myself, that was the first time I did Creation Nation was in 2003. The videos made their debut as part of the show a year later in September of 2004. So that is, literally, I'm not good at math, but that's, 13 years ago. It's a long time. That's like most of my adult life. And so I was doing the videos as part of my live show. There were all kinds of things in my live show: stand-up, songs that I would write. There was a band. I would rant and rave about pop culture. There were musical numbers, and there were a variety of videos. And one of the videos was me talking to people on the street about pop culture and what became known as Billy on the Street videos. YouTube didn't even exist when I created these videos with some friends of mine. And then YouTube came along. We started to put the videos from the live show on YouTube. And I was a little concerned that out of context of the live show, people wouldn't maybe get what I was doing, get that it was a character. And there was some muddiness to all of it. And I think it's taken time for people to realize that it's a character, and that there is kind of more meaning behind it. But that's getting us off on a tangent. So I put them on YouTube. They were on YouTube for a couple of years, didn't go viral right away. And what really saved me was not only YouTube, but Facebook and Twitter. which came along a little bit after that, and once those places became video sharing sites, that really allowed me to share the videos with people. Otherwise, they were just kind of lying dormant on YouTube with a billion other videos. And Facebook and Twitter allowed me to share the videos. People then shared it with their friends, and in the summer of 2010, I believe. And then Funny or Die, the website, now production company started by Will Ferrell and Adam McKay, they got in touch with me out of the blue one Friday night and emailed me and said, "We love what you're doing. If you're ever in LA, come and talk to us." And I think they intended for me to maybe do the videos exclusively on Funny or Die. But I pitched them a different idea, kind of a bigger dream. And I said, "I don't know if you're doing TV or not, but I have an idea to turn it into a TV show with this loose game show format attached to it." And I had all kinds of ideas, the dollar and the silly prizes and the obstacle courses, and it was all in my head. And I pitched Mike Farah, who's now the CEO of Funny or Die, on this idea. He loved it. He gave me a little bit of money to film a sizzle reel of it to prove to people how it would work as a long form show and as a game show. And thankfully, that video came out really well. We took it around to various networks, got a bunch of offers based on that video, and then we ended up getting a straight-to-series offer from Fuse, a small cable network. We did the first 3 seasons of Billy on the Street on Fuse, and then we moved it to True TV, and we had a second window on TBS. It was like an overall deal we did with Turner, and the 4th and 5th season of the show aired on Billy on the Street. Here we are. Only took 13 years.
Every little bit helps. Though.
Yeah.
Every little bit helps. So the other thing you were saying a bit earlier is how it's taken a toll on you. How do you not lose your voice when you combine, especially like when you were doing Parks and Rec at the same time, and you're playing another character that is very fond of yelling at people, justifiably so, and and also doing that, but also starting difficult people. How do you keep your voice intact?
I did mention it took a lot out of me vocally. The truth of the matter is, I've never once lost my voice doing Billy on the Street, and I don't know why that is. I don't know how. I never once in a while it would maybe get a little scratchy. We never once in all of these years, I never had to cancel a day of shooting because of my voice, or I don't think we've ever canceled a day of shooting for anything but weather, which, as you can imagine, in New York becomes a huge issue. It's 100 degrees, it's 0 degrees, and snowing, it's everything in between. So weather's an issue. But my voice has always stuck around. I don't know why. If I had to guess, when I was a kid, I was a really good singer. And kind of my entryway into performing was musical theater. I was a theater major at Northwestern and did a lot of musicals because I had a really good singing voice as a kid. I took voice lessons throughout my whole childhood. I think maybe, and who knows, but maybe I kind of have those muscles, because they teach you to like support your voice. And I think maybe just through singing all those years and muscle memory and all of that we don't have to get into, I just kind of naturally know how to properly use my voice. I don't know why. And I've always just naturally been loud and never had a problem projecting and all of that. It's just something that's in my body. I will say the only time I've ever come close to using my voice and to losing my voice is an American Horror Story shoot last week. And I can't get into why because we're sworn to secrecy, but there is some intense stuff happening on that show. And I was actually shocked. The next morning I woke up and I said, wow, after all these years of not losing my voice on Billy on the Street, I might lose it on American Horror Story. But I didn't end up fully losing it. But somehow it's just, I don't know. I don't lose it. It's just part of me. I don't know. It's part of my body.
So what made you choose to submit the Jon Hamm episode, the season premiere, as the episode for consideration to the Emmy voters?
Yeah, it's really tough. We work really hard on these episodes. We do 10 a year. And there's stuff in every episode that I love. And we do such a variety of things on the show, you know, different types of segments and so many amazing celebrity guests and so many great contestants on the street. And it's very hard to choose. And at the end of the day, I just thought, you know, you can make an argument for any number of episodes, but it was our season premiere last year. And there are so many segments in that I really love. Would You Have a Threesome with Jon Hamm, which is a bit sillier, you know, a bit more lighthearted, not like as politically or socially conscious, although you can, you know, really dive into it if you want to. But on the surface, that's pretty silly and something that was very popular and I think has a lot of universal appeal. And then later in the episode, we play maybe my favorite game on the season, not with Jon Hamm, with a random person on the street, a game called Immigrant or Real American. And as we speak today, I mean, just an hour ago, you have Stephen Miller, one of Trump's closest advisors, kind of redefining what Emma Lazarus's poem on the Statue of Liberty means in terms of, you know, people coming to the country who don't speak English or who aren't, you know, college educated. And, you know, don't get me started, but this is exactly what that game is about. You have to watch it. It sounds like it may be offensive in a certain way on the surface, but when you watch how the game plays out, we clearly have a point to make about what constitutes a good person and a real American. And I really love that game a lot. And I think that game is really Billy on the Street at its best, because it's working on a number of levels. My interaction with the contestant beforehand is very funny, having nothing to do with the game. We get into
it's great. I loved that.
We get into a whole
hilarious.
conversation, a very honest conversation. He's a bisexual guy that I meet on the street. And we get into I don't know if you've ever seen a conversation on TV like that honest about bisexuality, and he has a sense of humor about it. And I am making fun of him the way I make fun of people, but we also just have a very honest conversation about it, but while still being funny. And then it leads to this game about immigration. And that whole segment is really one of my favorites we've ever done, plus all the Jon Hamm stuff. And you know, I like that episode all the way around, but you know, I wish we could have also submitted one of the obstacle courses or, you know, other things that we did. The John Oliver segment is one of my all-time favorites. Do gay people care about John Oliver? The gun control obstacle course we did. Escape Margot Robbie's moment is one of my favorite things ever. But you know, you can't submit them all, so.
Yeah, one of the great things about that is just how game Jon Hamm is for everything that happens, and he's so underrated as a comic actor. But
I have to say, we have had, as if you're a Billy on the Street fan, you know, we've had an insane roster of celebrity guests over the years. Michelle Obama and, you know, Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, amazing people. Julianne Moore, I mean, incredible people. Jon Hamm may have been the celebrity who engaged most with people on the street. We've had some celebrities who kind of don't talk a lot, and we've had some who really engage a lot. And he's one of those people who was fearless, because even for a seasoned actor or comedian, it's a very unusual thing to do, to go out on the street and go up to real people, to kind of interrupt a person and have a conversation. That's not in everyone's comfort zone, you know, obviously. But Jon just committed to it 150%. He's, you know, we shot a lot with him on that day. We shot a whole other segment that appears in a later episode, and he's just a doll and so game. Also, it was literally 95 degrees that day, and somehow I'm dripping with sweat. I think I had to change my t-shirt 3 times. Not a bead of sweat fell off Jon Hamm. I don't know. He's made of a different genetic material, and but that's, you know, I'm not, but he's fantastic. Yeah.
I completely understand what you're saying there. I schwitz at the least thing, and of course, me being my body type doesn't help. So I'm always in awe of people whenever they're like that.
No, yeah, I'm a sweaty New York Jewish person, and Jon Hamm just kept it all cool as a cucumber. He's great.
So I also want to ask about Difficult People. It's coming back August 8th, correct?
Yes, August 8th.
On Hulu. And the show is so funny, is so wonderful. I'm wondering, how long have you known Julie, and where did the idea for Difficult People come from?
You know, it's funny. People think that I've known Julie since I was a kid or something, because we have such a shared sensibility and we work off each other very well and just enjoy each other's work so much. I got familiar with Julie originally via social media. You know, I think she had a blog at one point back in the day, or a Tumblr page when people did those things. We're talking about like 6, 7 years ago, and I discovered her videos online, and I thought, and her Twitter feed, and I was like, wow, who is this person? How do we not know each other? And then she discovered my videos, and I think she came to one of my live shows in New York at one point, and that's how we really met each other. It was a bit, you know, later in our lives. And then we talked about various ways to collaborate. Nothing ever came to fruition. Then when Billy on the Street became a TV show, she's one of the first people I called, literally. And I said, I am going right into production on the show. It was just picked up, and I need you to work on it. Like I couldn't think of anyone else who was so close to my voice, my sensibility, and she's so brilliant. And luckily for me, she did. And then that's when we really got to know each other in a working environment on Billy on the Street. And she would submit ideas, and I would, even at my most stressed out trying to put that show together, the first season of a show, especially such a unique hybrid show like that, you're really figuring it out on the fly with Billy on the Street. And she would and to have her creativity and her ideas to help me along. So she eventually worked on Billy on the Street for the first 4 seasons. And then maybe around the 3rd season of Billy on the Street, she came to me when we were on hiatus, and she said, I've written a pilot, and I think Amy Poehler is going to executive produce it. Amy liked the pilot script, and there's a role for you. And I think she pitched it as a Curb Your Enthusiasm style show, but from the point of view of a woman instead of a man like Larry David, and her gay best friend instead of Jeff Garlin. And I thought, wow, that sounds incredible. And I don't even think I read the pilot. I think I just said, yeah, of course I'm going to do that. You, Amy Poehler, I mean, you don't say no to that. And here we are. And, you know, she's really kept Difficult People fresh and funny and, you know, so progressive. I think Difficult People, you know, people like the show. I think it doesn't get a certain amount of credit that it's due. I think it's the most diverse cast on television. I really think Difficult People is very ahead of its time in its depiction of the LGBT community in particular. We're not some show that has one token gay guy or one token bisexual or one token trans person. You know, we have multiple characters who fill those roles. They are an organic world of Difficult People because we're there to reflect what it means to be, you know, a 20, 30 something person in New York right now. And we're all integrated, you know, because New York is, of course, many steps ahead of the rest of the world in certain regards. And I think Difficult People really does a great job of reflecting it and also poking fun at it. We're not self-righteous about any of it. We make fun of ourselves. You know, one of my favorite characters on the show is Lola, the transgender waitress at the cafe where I work, because on the one hand, she's transgender and fighting those battles. On the other hand, she's a 9/11 truther who thinks that 9/11 was an inside job and is, you know, a conspiracy theorist and has all these crazy ideas. But my character feels like I can't question her on any of that because she's trans. And like, it's just that when Julie told me that was going to be a character on the show, it's so funny to me. The trans truther, Lola, you're not going to find that in any other show. And I love the cast. And we also have amazing celebrity guests on Difficult People. And I think there's so much good about Difficult People. And I think it's gotten better every season. I'm really excited for the new season.
Yeah. And you also have another Emmy nominee on that show, Jackie Hoffman, who I cannot wait to see return again. She stole the show for me in Feud. So yeah.
To bring this all full circle, on Creation Nation, my live show where the Billy on the Street video started, we would have every show, we'd have a celebrity guest. Now, no one really knew who I was at that point. I didn't know many celebrities. So through my sort of theater circle in New York, we would get people from Broadway or, you know, downtown cabaret performers or comedy performers. And once in a while, we'd manage to snag someone from SNL. But one of the first guests on Creation Nation was Jackie Hoffman, who came on to promote a one-woman show she was doing in New York at the time off Broadway, because I would go see Jackie Hoffman's one-woman shows off Broadway, which, as you can imagine, are hilarious. And I was so happy. And I actually, when I saw Jackie was nominated for Feud and we were nominated, I sent her a message, and I was just so happy. I was like, God, I'm excited to like see Nicole Kidman at the Emmys and all these people, but I'm really so excited to see Jackie Hoffman. Like, it's like New York, downtown, theater, comedy people representing in a mainstream way. And I think that's pretty great.
Well, Billy, I cannot begin to thank you enough for being a part of this. This has been so much fun. Billy on the Street is on True TV, and Difficult People Story on Hulu.
It's Hulu also, if you've missed it. Yeah.
And the upcoming season of American Horror Story. So, so thank you so much for this, and best of luck to you on Emmy night. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.